Hello my lovelies, my name is May, and welcome to the dark side of Wanderland. What is Wanderland? Well, to put it simply, Wanderland is my happy place. It's a world that exists inside my mind. Somewhere I can go when the real world gets too much. It sounds crazy and childlike, but for someone like me, it's the only way I know how to feel safe. But sometimes, your mind isn't the safest place to be. Let's start from the beginning. I was always a strange child. My head was filled with fantasy and make-believe. My best friends were my books, and people who may or may not have existed. I always found it easier to disassociate myself with reality. And I still do. Growing up, I dealt with lots of things that I didn't understand. My brother was very sick, my parents split up, my whole family was arguing, and me, an 11-year-old girl, was trapped bang in the middle. And that's not to say that I didn't have a great childhood, because I did, but just certain things made me drift. I can't remember the first time I went to my Wonderland. All I know is that for my whole life it's been there. At some point it must have started with Alice. I always loved that movie as a kid, and I'd remember spending weekends with my dad watching it on the sofa. And in my mind that world just seemed perfect, where everything was just entirely nonsense. And so I guess I let my thoughts wander, and that's why it's spelled with an A in case any of you guys are still wondering. I got pretty badly bullied when I was younger. I know I made a video about my older experience, but I was bullied in primary school too. And I would come home after pretty difficult days at school, and my mind would wander away. I'd go and visit the fairies and have adventures. Everyone would always describe me as away with the fairies. And to be completely honest, they still do. Imaginary friends and make-believe are just something people assume everybody grows out of. And most people do. I didn't. Oh, why am I making this? Okay, let's rephrase that. I use my Wonderland as my coping mechanism. Some people go out and drink a lot or take loads of drugs. I just disassociate myself. And I don't do it all the time, just sometimes it's easier for me to retract from the real world than sit there and deal. And I'm not saying it's a good way to be, because it's sure as hell not, and it can cause some real complications, which is what this whole series is going to be about. No place is truly happy, including the happy place in your head. When I was 16, I was diagnosed with an eating disorder, and throughout most of my life I've suffered from terrible anxiety. But those things are still a part of me, and they still have to reside somewhere. Unfortunately for me, I tend to live mostly inside my own brain. You see where the problems come from. Usually I'm pretty good with dealing with my anxiety, and my eating disorder hasn't been a problem for a few years now, but recently everything's gone a bit swirly. And I hope that sharing it with you guys would give me an outlet and hopefully help some of you. And that's why I wanted to introduce you guys to the dark side of Wonderland. The place where all your fear lies. All those things you're too scared to say or to do. All those bad thoughts, all that anxiety, all the terrible parts of mental illness that you can't get out. Through this series, I want to go into a few more details about my mental disorders and what I went through and what I'm currently dealing with. And I really hope you guys can share with me too what's going on in your lives. Sometimes it's easier to get help and support from people you don't know and you've never met before. Especially for me, because I don't know if you guys are real or not. Oh god, that's a horrible thought. Oh no. I recently learned about a disorder called depersonalization, which is a type of dissociative disorder. I'm really sorry, I really struggle saying disassociate. Sorry. Reading up more on it, lots of the symptoms do actually reflect with me. And I've never been diagnosed with it, and I've never even heard of it until a couple of weeks ago. And I'd really love it if you guys came on this journey with me. So thank you very much for watching an introduction to the dark side of Wonderland, and I'll hope to see you all very soon. Goodbye, my lovelies.